The psychology of the child who was never protected, asterisk Linda Foster, was 62 years old when she finally understood why she had spent her entire life protecting everyone except herself. Asterisk she was sitting with her therapist, Dr. Alice Bennett, when the realization settled over her like a weight she had been carrying so long she had forgotten it was their asterisk. You learned very young that no one was coming to protect you, Dr. Bennett said gently. So you became your own protector and everyone else's asterisk? Linda felt tears sprang to her eyes because it was true. She had been that child. The one who stood between her younger siblings and their father's anger? Asterisk the one who lied to teachers about bruises? Asterisk the one who made excuses for her mother's absences? Asterisk the one who grew up too fast because childhood was a luxury she could not afford? Asterisk. Linda's parents had not been evil people, just deeply troubled ones. Her father drank, and his temper was unpredictable. Asterisk. Her mother was fragile and disappeared into her room for days at a time, and Linda at age 8 had understood that if she did not take care of things, no one would. So she had become the protector. Asterisk. She made sure her younger brother Thomas got to school. Asterisk. She made sure her baby sister Marie was fed. She learned to read the room and diffuse situations before they exploded. She learned to be hypervigilantly scanning for danger, always preparing for the worst. 4 is ready to step in. Okay. By age 10, she was running the household. Asterisk. By age 12, she was the parent. By age 15, she was exhausted, but she never stopped. Asterisk. Because stopping felt dangerous. Children who were never protected learned certain things. They learned that safety is something they must create for themselves. Asterisk. They learn that asking for help is useless because help will not come. Asterisk. They learn that their own needs are less important than keeping everyone else safe. Asterisk. They learn to be strong because weakness is a luxury they cannot afford. Linda had learned all of these lessons and they had followed her into adulthood. Asterisk. She had married young to a man named Richard, who seemed stable and safe. Asterisk. But Richard had his own wounds, and within a few years, the marriage had become another situation Linda had to manage. Asterisk. He was not violent, like her father. Asterisk, but he was needy and critical and incapable of providing the support Linda had never learned to ask for anyway. Asterisk. She had 2 children, Sarah and David, and Linda had poured herself into protecting them from everything, from disappointment, from failure, from any harm that might come their way. She had hovered and worried and tried to control every variable. Asterisk. Not because she did not trust them. Asterisk. But because protection was the only way she knew how to love. Asterisk. The marriage to Richard ended after 23 years. It should have ended sooner, but Linda had stayed trying to fix it, trying to make it work, because walking away felt like failing to protect. Asterisk. After the divorce, Linda threw herself into her work as a social worker. Asterisk. Helping other people, protecting other children, fighting battles for those who could not fight for themselves. Asterisk. It was meaningful work, but it was also exhausting because Linda never stopped, never rested, never let down her guard. Her children were grown. Now Sarah was 35 and David was 32. Asterisk. Both were struggling in their own ways. Asterisk. Sarah with anxiety that made every decision feel overwhelming. Asterisk. David with an inability to advocate for himself at work. Asterisk. Linda could see how her overprotection had affected them, how they had never learned to protect themselves because she had always done it for them. I was trying to give them what I never had. Linda told Dr. Bennett safety. Dr. Bennett said yes, but you gave them safety at the expense of resilience. Linda felt this truth like a physical pain. She had tried so hard to be different from her parents, to be the protector she never had. Asterisk. But in doing so, she had taught her children that the world was dangerous and they were not capable of handling it. Asterisk. What about you? Dr. Bennett asked. What about me? Who protects you? Asterisk. Linda did not have an answer because the truth was no one protected her, not then, not now. She had spent 62 years being the strong one, the capable one, the one who handles everything. Asterisk. And she was so tired. Asterisk. I do not know how to let anyone protect me, Linda admitted. Asterisk. Because you learned that no one would. Yes. Dr. Bennett leaned forward. Asterisk. The child who was never protected grows into an adult who does not know how to receive care. She said, who feels guilty for having needs, who believes that being vulnerable is dangerous. Linda was crying now. I am 62 years old, she said, Am I ever going to stop being that scared little girl asterisk you already have? In many ways, Dr. Bennett said, but there are parts of her that still need healing asterisk over the following months. Linda began to recognize her patterns, how she immediately jumped in to solve other people's problems, how she said yes to every request for help. Asterisk, how she never asked for what she needed, how exhausted she was all the time. One afternoon, her daughter Sarah called, upset about something at work. Asterisk. Linda's first instinct was to fix it asterisk, to call someone to intervene, but instead, she took a breath and said, "That sounds really hard. What do you think you should do asterisk?" There was a pause on the other end. Asterisk. "I do not know, Mom." "What do you think asterisk?" "I think," Linda said carefully, "you are smart and capable, and you will figure it out asterisk." "But what if I make the wrong choice asterisk?" "Then you will learn from it," Linda said, "and you will be okay." After they hung up, Linda felt anxious. Every instinct told her to call Sarah back to tell her exactly what to do to protect her from potential mistakes asterisk. But she did not. She sat with the discomfort and trusted that her daughter could handle her own life. A week later, Sarah called back. "I handled that work thing," she said with pride in her voice. "How did it go? Not perfectly, but I did it myself, and that felt good asterisk." Linda felt something shift in her chest. Asterisk, maybe protecting her children meant trusting them, not shielding them from everything. Linda also started noticing how she protected other people in her life asterisk, her brother Thomas, who was 60 now, and still called Linda whenever he had a crisis. Asterisk, her neighbor Betty, who relied on Linda to help with everything from grocery shopping to bill paying. Her colleagues at work who knew Linda would always take on extra cases. She had built her entire identity around being the protector. But what was she protecting them from, and what was it costing her asterisk? Linda started saying no, not to everything, but to some things asterisk. "Thomas, I cannot drop everything to help you today," she said when he called about his latest crisis, "but I can talk to you about what you might do." Thomas was shocked. "Are you okay, Mom? You always help asterisk." "I am okay," Linda said, "but I am tired, and I need to take care of myself." It felt terrifying to say, but also liberating. Betty, the neighbor, was less understanding. "I thought we were friends," she said when Linda declined to drive her to an appointment asterisk. "We are friends," Linda said gently. "But friendship is not the same as being your personal assistant." Betty stopped calling after that, and Linda felt sad but also relieved, because that relationship had not been friendship asterisk, had been another situation where Linda was protecting someone at her own expense. Asterisk, the hardest work was learning to let herself be vulnerable, to ask for help, to admit when she was struggling asterisk. One evening, Linda's son David stopped by and found her crying over bills. "Mom, what is wrong?" Linda's first instinct was to say nothing asterisk, to hide her struggle, to protect him from worrying, but instead she told the truth asterisk. "I am overwhelmed," she said, "and I do not know how I am going to afford the roof repair." David sat down beside her. "Let me help you." "Do not have to do that, I know." "I do not have to," David said, "but I want to. You have helped me my whole life. Let me help you now." Linda felt resistance rising. She was supposed to be the strong one, the helper, not the one who needed help asterisk, but she was exhausted and the roof needed fixing. "Okay," she said quietly. "Thank you." David helped her with the bills and stayed for dinner. As they ate, he said, "You know, Mom, you do not always have to be so strong." "What do you mean?" "You taught us that needing help was okay," David said. "But you never let yourself need anything from anyone." "I did not want to burden you." "It is not a burden," David said. "It is connection asterisk." Linda thought about this asterisk, about how protecting everyone had actually kept them at a distance, about how never being vulnerable had meant never being truly known. She started therapy in part to help her children asterisk, but she was learning it was really about helping herself asterisk, about healing the child who was never protected, about learning that she deserved care too, not just from others but from herself. Linda started taking better care of herself asterisk, saying no to extra work, taking days off, doing things she enjoyed instead of only things that needed to be done. She joined a book club and made friends who did not need her to fix anything. She started dating again at 62 asterisk, a man named Frank who was kind and patient asterisk, who did not need protecting or fixing asterisk, who actually Wanted to take care of her sometimes asterisk. The first time Frank cooked dinner for her, Linda felt anxious asterisk. You do not have to do this. She said, I know, Frank replied, but I want to sit and let me take care of you. It was one of the hardest things Linda had ever done, just sitting, just receiving, just letting someone care for her. But it was also healing. Linda was 62 years old. She had spent her entire life being the protector asterisk. The strong one, the one who kept everyone safe, because no one had. Kept her safe as a child, but she was learning something new. That the child who was never protected could still be protected now, asterisk. By herself, by the choices she made, by the boundaries she set, by the vulnerability she allowed, by the care she finally learned to accept. This is a story about breaking patterns. It's about recognizing how childhood wounds shape adult behavior, asterisk. About learning that protection is not the only form of love. Sometimes love is letting go. Sometimes love is trusting others to handle their own lives, asterisk. Sometimes love is being vulnerable enough to let others care for you. Linda had been the protector for 62 years, but she was learning to be something else now. Someone who could receive as well as give, someone who could rest as well as fight, asterisk. Someone who could finally stop being that scared little girl who learned that safety was something she had to create alone, asterisk. Linda still protected people sometimes, but now it was a choice, not a compulsion, asterisk, not a survival mechanism, just one way of loving among many, asterisk. And when she needed protection herself, asterisk. When she was tired or scared or overwhelmed, she was learning to ask for it, to accept it, to believe she deserved it because she did. She always had. The child who was never protected had become the woman who learned that it was never too late, asterisk, to start protecting herself with the same fierce love she had always given, asterisk, to everyone else.